There we go. Okay, so we didn't miss much here. So I apologize for those who are watching this recording later. But at least I started this recording now and not start to record halfway through because that would have been a disaster. So um, for those who are watching the video, basically I'm covering all the different platforms. I went through ChatGPT, Claude, and now Gemini. So talking about Gemini, if you're using it with your @KW email, then you're able to have the pro version for free. It works just like ChatGPT. You can ask questions and prompts, and then also it can work within your searches. So if you're doing a Google search, you'll see that come up in your Google searches as well. And Gemini also has a pretty integrative response. Like you literally have a conversation with someone. I'm sure you've seen those commercials where people are having conversations with Gemini, so it works in that manner as well. Then there's Jasper, which is more content focused, and then Gamma. Gamma is one I use as well. And you can create like web pages and presentations and documents. It's more on the presentation document side of things. But it's a really cool thing. I actually use it to create my page that I have for my classes. I was able to put a Google Doc together of my list of classes and dates, and then I asked Gamma to take that and turn it into a page. So that's a really cool platform out there. Okay, so now let's go to our next thing. Give me a second here. Well, now let's talk about creating a perfect prompt, right? So again, as a review, a prompt's going to be the question you're asking when you're typing it in to ChatGPT or any of those AI platforms. The first thing you want to think about when you're crafting a perfect prompt is identifying the audience, right? So if you're creating a prompt, whether it's for yourself or whether it's creating a blog or something like that, or a postcard or an email, try to figure out, okay, who are you speaking to or writing for so they can tell the response to that audience, right? So keeping that in mind that as you're writing out a prompt, who the target audience is for, whether it's for yourself or whether it's for something that you're putting out there, right? Set the tone and style, like define the tone. Is it going to be more of a casual or formal? Remember, the context that we're talking about here, guys, is in regards to using AI as a tool to help with marketing in real estate, whether it's emails, whether it's for a blog, whether it's for a listing presentation, so forth. You know, it's really important to kind of set the tone and style of how you want this to be. Do you want it to be descriptive, lighthearted, persuasive? Like, how do you want that response to be? Number three, excuse me, is use prompt formatting. So you want to be specific in your formatting in regards to what you want the response to be back, right? So if you want specific formatting, you should mention that as well. This means telling it what you're creating, explaining how long you want it to be, if you want a bullet point or numbering. Case in point, if let's say, for example, that you are creating a blog or relocating to Sacramento as a for instance, it would be better if you say instead of saying I want a blog for relocating to Sacramento, I think it'd be better to say I want a blog for relocating to Sacramento for a real estate website because then it's going to incorporate more real estate related content into that blog as opposed to just a generic blog about relocating to Sacramento. Does that make sense? So things like that, the formatting is helpful. You can also be very specific about how many paragraphs you want on it. Maybe it writes out a whole long thing and you think, you know what, that's too much. Can we shorten it to like 2 or 3 paragraphs? You can do that. If you have some bullet points that you want instead of just a paragraph, you can do that as well. So those are things to keep in mind as you're basically putting in prompts in those platforms. Actually, right now, I will take the time to take a couple of questions on this first part. Any questions so far? Okay, so now let's go to the next thing. Now let's talk about what a poor prompt would be. A poor prompt would be write me a postcard. And why do you think that would be a poor prompt? Anyone out there want to be brave enough to give me an answer why you think that would be a poor prompt?
Well, what do you need them to write it about?
Exactly. Right. It's not specific enough, right?
Correct.
It can just you need to be more specific. So a better prompt, thank you, Danny. A better prompt would be write me a 3 to 4 sentence postcard about real estate. Right. That would be a much better prompt because now you're being more specific. A great prompt would be I'm a real estate agent and want to write a postcard for my clients who I've sold homes to. So now you're getting very specific. We're getting much more deeper into what the purpose of what you're looking for. Then you can even say, I want my postcard to be humorous and conversational, yet professional and lighthearted. Now, what's interesting about the whole great prompt thing is that what I have done in my experience with AI is that I'll say something like, write me a 3 to 4 sentence postcard about real estate, and it does that for me. Then within that same conversation, I can say, okay, I'm a real estate agent, write a postcard for my clients who I've sold homes to, and they'll rewrite that actual sentence for me or that paragraph. And then I can actually say, okay, I want my postcard to be humorous and conversational, yet professional, lighthearted. Then I'll rewrite it for me, regenerate that for me. So the nice thing with using these platforms is you can keep adjusting it as you go. So if it gives you an answer or gives you what you're looking for, if you want to make adjustments, you're certainly able to do that. Just keep making those adjustments for you and get more specific and more niche to what it is you're trying to accomplish. So for example, here, make it a 3 to 4 sentence long. It should contain one interesting fact about residential real estate in my market. So you can say very specific, interesting fact about residential real estate in Lodi. And should have a call to action for them to call me on my cell phone if they want additional help. So you can get very specific and I'll give you that information for you. All right, so now let me show you some examples that I have done with ChatGPT as an example. So here I asked it email template for preparing a seller for a home inspection. So I actually was asking it, can you please give me an email template for that? So here it is. It wrote it out for me. Preparing your home for an upcoming inspection. Hi, seller. I hope you're doing well. We move forward. So you see, it gives me all that information right there. It gives me all the prep. It gives me what to do for inspection day and the whole thing, just like that. And if I wanted to, I can actually add some tweaks here. You'll see, let me know if you like any tweaks. That would be one example of me writing out an email template. So you can do email templates for different things. You can say, I want an email template for confirming an appointment. I want an email template for dealing with this, whatever. So that's one option. Here would be another one. I basically said web page about down payment assistance for a realtor in Sacramento area. So I wrote out a whole thing here where I have information on giving me down payment assistance information for Sacramento. And of course, this can be changed. I can change to a different market. Maybe I want to say at the bottom of this, let's go through it real quickly. It has here making homeownership more accessible. What is down payment assistance? So it goes into that. Sacramento area programs you should know. And it gives me all of that information. Do you qualify? So it gives me that info. Let's talk strategy and so forth, just like that. Something that probably would have taken me days, maybe a week to write out. It did for me within minutes or less, within seconds. Then if I want to make it more to a different area, I can say down payment assistance program for Patterson, California. And then it's going to basically write that out for me, just like that. So even if I want to get very specific like that, it can do that for you, right? So it does all that. And of course, it can make those modifications and changes and so forth in there. Any questions right now in regards to writing out a prompt in ChatGPT? Okay. All right. I'll give you another cool thing that I've done with it, and that is building out a profile for a client. So I wrote out here a prompt for a listing that I was going to be taking, but they're going to put things on hold with. I wrote out here, working with a soon-to-be divorced couple. The husband's named John, wants to hire me to sell their home. According to him, his soon-to-be ex-wife, Sandy, he says she's on board. I haven't confirmed that yet. And then it starts to write out here, here are some things you're going to basically be needing, looking for. I put in here, they plan to sell before legal separations in California. I said, thanks for the clarification. And I basically put here are the next steps for that. And then it says here, want to write a script or a sample email to contact Sandy or document her consent. And then I put here, the vesting is as follows. John Padilla and Sandra Hernandez Padilla, husband and wife, are community property with drive survivorship. So I wrote that out. And then it gave me more information about that, how to reach out to her and so forth. Even gave me a sample email in regards to how to communicate with Sandy. And then I said, I actually would like a call script. So I put call script question mark. And then it gave me a call script right there in regards to how to communicate with Sandy in regards to the situation. And then because in the call script, it put here Eduardo Fioros, I think I pronounce his name, because I had a prior prompt from like months ago for another agent. I correct, I said update Eduardo to Jeff Menendez. And then it basically rewrote the script for me to have my name in the script. And you can do this basically for any of your clients. Like you can even have it where you can say, okay, after the phone call, she was blah, 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 and this happened, and she was this and this and this. And then they can say, okay, here are some ways to overcome this particular situation. Or there's any objections that happen. You can basically put those objections that happen, and then it can give you some tips on how to overcome those objections. And it can be very specific to that particular scenario, which is amazing, right? So there's that. That's one option. Another one, let's see here, is real estate newsletter ideas. How many of you guys struggle with coming up with newsletters for your clients? Any hands up there? Yeah, you can use ChatGPT or Gemini to give you some ideas. I put here real estate newsletter ideas for email, and it gives me some topic. As you can see here, market updates and trends, buying and selling tips. And it gives you all these different topics, right? But once you have those topics, then I can say, okay, because for example, you'll see it'll give me prices in Yakima Valley as a prompt. And I say, you know what? You did it for the greater Sacramento area. And then it did like that. And then I said, okay, great. I like number 10, which is this right here. I said, write a newsletter email on best home renovations for boosting property value in Sacramento. And then it wrote out an email for me, just like that. It had here the subject line with the emojis. It had the header, and then here's the body, just like that. So it can really do a lot to help you with your real estate business, whether it's having that. Another option besides this can be a listing description. So this is for my listing in Moreno Valley. I said this is a listing where I'm a listing agent on 28169 Arbor Glen Drive, Moreno Valley, California. And then it gave me a description. And then what you can even do is if there are certain things about the description, like certain things about the property that's very specific. For example, you may want to add in there that there's this type of cabinets, there's this type of flooring, upgraded kitchen, fireplace is custom made, has a pool, whatever all the things. You can just line item all the different things a house has and then ask it to write an MLS description for you, is based on that. And then after that, I can say, here are a few solid subject lines for an email, right? So there's that. I put here, I put here now for a Facebook and Instagram post. So now I was asking it, can you give me a good caption for posting this listing on Instagram? So this one went under contract. And it said, here is a Facebook and Instagram post you can use to announce that 28169 Arbor Glen Drive is under contract. And then just like that, it is a caption to put on Instagram with all the emojis and everything, and even hashtags. Did that for me as well. And then, by the way, it said initially, trying to find out, had 4 bedrooms and 3 baths and 3-car garage. That was incorrect. So I said correction, 5 bedrooms, 4 bath, 2-car garage, 2462 square foot. And it said thanks for the information. And then I rewrote the caption with the accurate information for me. So it's very intuitive that way that it can do that for me. And then because I'm on X, or formerly Twitter, I said, give me a version for post for X, because X has 100 and I think now 40, I think, or 160 character limit. So I wrote one specifically for that because of the character limit for that. So there you go. So the sky's the limit, really, guys, in regards to what you can do to utilize this, whether it's basically content for your website, whether it's a logo, you can have a logo created here, whether it's creating a location guide, newsletters. There's all types of different things you can do, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini, as an example. I'm going to do one more. Let me think here. Let me see here if I can find. What was this one? I wonder if it's going to let me go back if I'm not logged in. It's been a while since I've done these prompts. I think we're good for now. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and keep going with my presentation. So give me 1 second, guys.
You guys definitely.
Oh, go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, hang on just for a second. We're loud here. I was just going to say, make sure everybody asks questions because right now is the time to do it while you're here with us. Because I know in the past experiences, people are like, maybe like a aha moment. And we may be going a little fast for them, but they can just take a moment and ask the questions that everybody else could be thinking at the same time.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll take questions right now. Just kind of slow down for a bit. So if you guys have any questions, feel so free to ask right now.
I just wanted to make a comment because I got my leather hat on. When you guys are digging deeper, it's always best to do that. Michelle,
Hold on 1 sec. Go ahead. Go ahead.
like programs, like half of those programs that they pulled up from Patterson were not even available. So you want to make sure that you put those extra words in there, like current available first time home buyer programs, not out of funds, right? So it's accurate information you're pulling because they do pull and not to that detail unless you ask it to go deeper.
Absolutely. So use the knowledge that you have already of your guys' experience in real estate and enhance those answers, right? So if you know that some of the things that you're getting answers from ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever AI program you have may not be exactly accurate, the good news is that you can say, okay, also add in this program, loan limits, whatever it is, and then that will then rewrite the whole thing for you with that new information you're providing. So it's almost like you're basically going, cool, you did 75% of the work. Now let me add my 25% contribution to it to basically make it a complete work that you can then take and put onto whatever content you're putting it to. So for sure, don't be afraid to utilize your knowledge of what you know and adding on to what you're getting. Absolutely.
I tried using this for pulling market data, market stats, local market reports, and just a warning, but definitely double check the
Yes.
data that it gives you because I noticed I really wanted to use this tool for that to save me some time, but the numbers were not accurate when I compared them to MetroList. But hopefully they're going to get better about that.
Hold on 1 second. Let me just this would be a fun little exercise. I didn't get specific with Patterson. Okay, good, it did. So, right, it pulls in information from different places like Rocket, Redfin, Move2, Zillow, right? So if you're looking for adding this content to, your website, you can always say, can you please take off those places or cite them somewhere else, right? And then add those other places. But here it is. But yes, always check your work. Remember in high school where it was being check your work? It doesn't hurt to do that. Keep in mind that this is not going to be something where you can just copy and paste, right? It's basically something that is saving you time, right? Because what it's doing is doing all this work for you, but then make those adjustments, right? So check metrics and see, okay, are those numbers actually correct, right?
Yes,
And those
verify.
numbers and verify. If the numbers are pretty close, and make those adjustments. But you know what? Those adjustments are going to be much shorter than having to create the whole entire thing like it did for you. So don't let the fact that maybe the information may be incorrect scare you from using the tool. Be bold enough to say, no, may not be correct. I'm going to put the right information in there to basically correct what I'm getting. Absolutely. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'll give one more opportunity for another question. If not, we'll move into the last part of my presentation.
I also wanted to include that you can, when you're done with it's writing, because I say it's human and makes mistakes, but it's really not. You can say check it against RESPA, check it against fair housing, And it will do that and rewrite it in the compliant version as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great point. Because it's still, I mean, it's only been out for the last few years, and it's really come into focus in regards to different subject matter. So absolutely, just to cover yourselves, just make sure that you're checking with that, and it will make those adjustments for you. Absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and jump back in here to my presentation to close this out. Now we're going to talk about some of the AI tools that exist with KW. So one of the things that exists in Command, if you look at the top part of Command, is a thing called Quick. That stands for Keller Williams Intelligence, I think, question. I think I forget the actual acronym, but it's the artificial intelligence version of KW. So keep in mind that it stays within the MREA book, and it stays within general real estate practices, and it also stays within the code books. And if I think I have this handy, I don't know if I have it here. I do somewhere, the one thing in other KW books. And of course, it stays within anything command related. So whether it's how do I add a contact, how do I do this in command, or if you see some prompts here in my presentation, what number should I track in my business? So you can ask it like general real estate questions. What steps should I take to define my value proposition? Right? One sentence social media post inspired by the one thing. So those are things that exist within command. Also, and actually, let me show you real quickly. Hopefully I don't have to log into command. If not, I have to pull another window. So Quick is located right up here. So if you're in command, it's right up here. And then this is where you can go ahead and put in your question, right? And so either it will give you a link to something, or it's going to give you a well thought out question. So effective open house lead follow-up. Script, let's say, right? So just give it a few moments, and then it's going to give you an answer here in regards to the question I asked, right? And put that in there for you. So there it is, just like that. So you have that within command, just so you guys know. And then the other cool tool that exists within command is when you're creating a Facebook ad, it has an AI component where you can basically have it fill in your headline and the body text of that ad. So if you're doing an ad, and I do teach a Facebook ad class every month, so check out my class schedule for that, or I go more in depth. But if you're creating a Facebook ad for a listing or something like that, it will actually write out for you an actual nice, well thought out body text and a headline for you. So that exists within command when you're doing a Facebook ad. And the last thing it has in there too is if you go to your contacts, it will actually show a summary of what's happening with your contacts. So if you go to your contacts, you'll see at the top of that contact an AI summary. So this will give you a brief glimpse of the most relevant events of the content. So it's going to go off of the notes, any log activities, so phone calls or texts or emails with the contact, any engagement with you in command and so forth. And so it would give you at least a summary of what's happening. So especially useful if you basically had text going back and forth with that person, let's say months ago, and then you're now giving them a phone call. You can look at that summary and let you know what's going on. Like, oh yeah, they went on vacation to France for a couple of weeks, and da 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 da. So that way, when you call them and you forgot about that, you can go, hey, how are you? What's going on? How did that trip to France go? You know, I know we talked about that you were planning on it. How did that go? So that AI summary is really awesome, and it's within all your contacts that you have in command. All right, so here are some things you can use just to kind of recap the whole thing as far as things that you can use AI for. So number one, using AI to build out your value proposition, newsletter content, blog posts, even smart plans, emails, text messages, and more. You can also use it for personal development, share your yearly goals, ask AI to create a best day for you with time blocking, create meal plans, workout plans, travel itineraries, more. So there's a lot of use for them. Role play, use AI to role play common objections that you hear from buyers and sellers. You can also use it for goal setting and accountability. use AI to give you 10 times your goals and set reminders to help keep yourself accountable, right? All right, so here is something that's amazing that I want you guys to scan. If you scan this, this will give you a Google Doc on a ChatGPT lead generation plan. So if you guys scan this, I'll keep it up for a couple of minutes here. And this will open up a Google Doc that was created by a regional tech trainer back east, Sydney. She's amazing. So I wanted to share this with you so you guys have something to take away with you. And it's an amazing, amazing thing. And for those of you who I don't see on video, if you guys can, in the chat, let me know once you guys have able to scan the QR code. If you're on your iPhone, I'm really sorry. But look at the recording, you guys will be able to come back to the recording and then get that. Okay, Marissa checked in, she got it. I'm assuming my Cat Valley crew, most of you guys got the.
I got it.
Thank you, Danny. All right, awesome. Thank you guys in the chat for letting me know that you guys have it. We got some thumbs up. Anybody who has gotten it, do you guys see the yes, I will post. Thank you, Michelle. I will also post this link in Circle. Thank you, Michelle. Anybody have a comment on that Google Doc? Real quick before we go. Yeah, Amanda, hold on one second. Let me see if I can unmute you. Hold on. Go ahead, Amanda.
Hi, sorry, it's not on the Google Doc, but it looks like our command doesn't have those options. The KWIQ, is that going to be released later or?
No, it's there. It's in the top. If you go to command itself, like you can see your dashboard, it should be at the top of command.
Yeah, it's not there
I'm
for
the
me.
same. I don't get it either.
Okay, that's interesting because.
Look in your bottom right-hand corner as well.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, guys, because I have the beta version. Guys, I have to remember this. It's going to be in the top right corner. I'm sorry. Bottom right corner. Bottom right corner, you see a little circle with the little things. Bottom right corner is where you'll see the KWIQ.
Get out of it and then show me this little thing down here.
Yeah. Sorry, I have the beta version, which is in the top. That's going to come out soon. But for most of you, it's going to be on the bottom right corner. It's going to be like a little circle, little thing when you're in your command dashboard. Thank you, Amanda, for pointing that out. I apologize for that. Okay, so everybody has that. Awesome. Okay, well, that will do it for me. I will go ahead and see if any of you guys have any questions before we wrap it up.
Quick question, Jeff. I noticed that AI summary in command when I'm in my contacts and I'm adding my activities to my contacts. I noticed I can like minimize it, but is there a way I can turn that on and off as needed? It kind of gets in the way sometimes of my activity.
Yeah, let me pick up a content here. And then I'll share my screen again. So give me a second here. You should be able right here to minimize that. Do you see that?
Yeah, mine looks different than that. Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Oh, we got the echo of doom.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead. It's a little echoey, but I
Now.
think we can make it work.
We were just wondering when you're going to have the next chat GPT class, a more advanced.
A more advanced class. Good question. Probably next month if you're asking for it. How about that?
Okay. Who would show up for that? Put a yes in the chat box, please, if you will show up for that. And then
Danny's saying
also,
yes. Yeah.
Jeff, when will you have the Canva class? Canva, since now KW is partnered with Canva.
I will probably do that in August after Mega Camp, because in
Okay.
Mega Camp they're going to have training specifically for that, and I know that they're going to come out with a lot of material after that. So I think that might be the best time, because I think it's not going to get released until probably Q3, Q4. So that won't be something like I mean, it doesn't make sense for me to teach it now when we're going to be like 2 or 3 months away from it being out. But I think the best time would be right after Mega Camp. So probably
Okay,
either
perfect.
end of, I probably will say beginning of September will probably be the time I'm going to probably do a training on it.
Okay, perfect. And that was going to be something that's going to be ongoing for us, correct?
Right, right. And there'll be a big release. I mean, at Mega Camp, they'll have more details about maybe a specific period when it's going to be, that's going to be available as far as the Pro Tools for KW users.
Mhm.
And for those who go to Mega Camp, they're going to actually have training as well, and demos. So,
Okay, perfect. Thank you
yeah.
so much. We appreciate this class. You guys,
Absolutely.
is this a thumbs up? Did this support you and help you?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Give
Thank
us
you,
a
Danny.
thumbs up in the chat, because we all need to make sure we're showing up. Jeff, since there's a bunch of us on right now, tell us
Sure.
what your classes are about on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, yeah. Thank you again. Let me bring up my
Next
classes.
Thursday, I did solo
Please
with
mute
Jeff.
yourself. Thank you.
Hold on 1 second. I got so many windows open, guys, that I'm like, here it is. I knew I had it ready. Let me, I'm not assuming I'm not sharing my screen, so let me share my screen here one more time. Sorry about that. So here we go. So orientation class on the 9th, and then I have on the 10th, basically using Command to Go with the Command app. Then I have my open house series on Tuesday and Thursday on the week of the 15th, where I'll be talking about marketing your listing with or open house with Command, and then how to increase conversion with open house leads. On 22nd, I do a kind of like a non-command class, kind of like today, where I help talk about how to increase your internet footprint. So if someone Googles your name, how you can be found more effectively. And then set up and organizing your pipeline. And then I'm going to do like a one-on-one. So I know I said September, but that's more the KW command component. This will be more like a one-on-one. Like it's a very basic kind of a thing. It's not going to be tied too much into how command and excuse me, how KW and Canva are going to be talking to each other. It's more just some basics of Canva. And then I haven't asked me anything, kind of like an office hour on the 31st. All right. And yes, they're all on Zoom at 12 noon. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys being engaged, and I hope you got something out of the class. And if you want to reach out to me, I'll put my information in the chat, my phone number, as well as my email. And then, one more thing I'm going to show you guys before you go is my KW resources page. Let me share my screen one more time here. And this is basically a resource page I created for all things command related. So I have here like some 4 basic steps to get started with command, in-depth training, and then right here is a link to my calendar. So if you want to have a one-on-one session with me to go anything specific with command in your business, click on this link right here, and this will take you into scheduling time to meet with me. So I have like a 30-minute KW command tools orientation. That's for like new agents who are joining the office, but this will be more for you guys, either a 30-minute one-on-one, or if you got a quick question, click here and schedule time. And I will put this link in the chat. So I'm going to put this link here, get my chat here going real quick. And then my scheduling with me here. There you go. All right, guys. Well, thanks again. Appreciate you. And I will see you soon.